What a great day to Arsenal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Honestly, my guys are here. I got a few guys coming up to join us in a few minutes. I'll introduce them once we get onto the other side. In the meantime, come on, you Spurs. Welcome back. We're on ComeonyespursTV. If this is your first time here, we discuss everything Spurs. Today we are going to be reviewing the North London Derby, which took place at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. With me tonight, I've got Chuma. Chuma is our in-house guru, like I like to call him. I've also got Deji. Deji is coming in all the way from Lagos, and Chuma, I think, is in London, isn't he? Yeah, somewhere in Hertfordshire. And then I've also got myself here. Somewhere in the world, a global citizen. So, yes, and honestly, it has been one of those days. If you're here for the first time, subscribe to our channel. Click on the like button. If you're joining us from home, please, you can join the live chats. You leave your comments, leave your opinions, and like this as well. I mean, would like to hear from you. This is one of those days when we thought we would do a lot better, but it hasn't quite turned out that way. But hey, let me just welcome my guys here first. Chuma, how are you?
I personally, on a personal level, I'm super good. I'm blessed. I'm thankful to be alive, grateful, expectant as always. As a Spurs fan, disappointed. I just say disappointed. Um, but somewhere in the back of my mind, it was an expected result as well. So it's really sad when your worst expectations come to pass.
Right, I totally feel you. I totally feel you. We'll look at the match in a bit more detail in a few minutes. Deji, how are you?
I've been better. Unlike Chuma, I nice hot meal when we finish doing this and have a good night's sleep. I think I should be better to face the Arsenal guys in my office tomorrow morning.
I think I can imagine exactly how you feel. Yeah, it's been one of those days when things haven't really gone our way. And these things happen in football, don't they? I've got Yinka who's joining us in a few seconds. Yinka, can you hear us? We can't hear you. You're still. I think you're muted again. I don't know what's going on. But we'll wait for Yinka to join us. In the meantime, we'll continue. Right. So, guys, tell me what happened in this match. Let's just have a quick look at the first half. Yinka, we can't hear you. So just keep talking. We can't hear you. This is one of the things with live. Do you want to log out and log back in? Maybe that would bring you back on. Right. Can you hear me, guys?
Yep, hear you loud and clear.
Yep, loud and clear.
Yeah. So I was saying that what happened here? What happened in this match? Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. I think
Yeah.
Who do you want to go first?
No, go ahead.
You got your episode. Sorry,
Thank you.
Let's hold on, guys. Let me just have a look. Is Yinka here? Can you hear us, Yinka? We can't hear you. You still need to do it again. So, guys, you continue. Well, yeah, this is stuff. This is the joys of live streaming, right? Right, carry on.
It is what it is.
Yes.
For me, it was a starting lineup. Two surprises for me. One was seeing Sessignon start. The other was seeing Pape Matisar start as well. I thought the reason for getting Ivan Perisic was for top 6 matches because you need that extra creativity. But he resorted to playing Sessignon for whatever reason. I don't know if Perisic was carrying an injury. I don't know what it is. I was very happy to see the return of Kulusevski, but it's always better to have another ball playing flank on your opposite side to him that creates more space. Pape Matisar, I like the boy, but I think he's a bit inexperienced. And if you had Bissouma, why not play Bissouma and then take Bissouma off if he struggles? Those are my two things when I saw the lineup. Beyond that, I was okay with the lineup because it's typical Tottenham, typical Conte layout. But yeah, and everything came down Session's wing. A lot of the play came down Session's wing, and that's because Session, unfortunately, in my opinion, has been found out and he has not developed. He hasn't grown. Um, he's still playing the same way he did when he was 16 years old. He plays with no confidence in himself. When his back is against the wall, he doesn't have any courage. He doesn't play with his head up, and a lot of things have gone wrong for that young man in his career. He hasn't kicked on, and it's affected us. And then, of course, no one could account for our goalkeeper's mistake. So that's the beginning point. I think that's where even all of us can agree. There's no accounting for a mistake
I
like he
mean,
faces.
all right, so
Change the complexion of the match.
let's take it sort of in little chunks because we have so much to talk about today. I mean, you mentioned the fact that the lineup, again, from your perspective, probably a little bit bold or risky, depending on what perspective you want to sort of take with it. We're speaking offline about this. I think that he said he was really, really scared with this lineup, you know, and I felt it was bold and courageous because if you look at what's happened in the past, let's hear from Deji first, and then I'll give my perspective.
Yeah, on the lineup, to be perfectly honest, I thought Sessegnon was in because the coach was worried about Saka and felt that Perisic would not be able to cope with Saka's trickery. Perisic is good going forward, and like you rightly said, he's a class act, but he's not so good defensively, especially against pace. I think the coach hoped that Sessegnon would match Saka for pace and also be able to keep him quiet, but he failed. He failed woefully. And I think Arteta knew that he was onto a winner against Sessegnon. And of course, with Saka, he targeted him. For the first goal, I think the first mistake was Sessegnon's. Yes, he tried to show Saka down the line, but he also invited him to cross with his right foot. And the moment that cross came in at pace from the byline, it was danger. Of course, Norwich should have done a whole lot better. But Sessegnon first let the side down by letting that cross come in at all. As for the choice of Sarr, I thought it was risky, but I thought the boy did okay. He wasn't our problem really. I think tactically we suffered because the midfield was a bit light. We could have done with an extra body in midfield, especially against like team like Arsenal. The counter-attacks, we had no answer and nobody closed anybody down, especially for the Odegaard goal. But like you say, let's take it a little bit before I go on and on. But
I mean, like Chuma said, I mean, and you sort of had maybe a little bit of justification, if you like, for having Sessegnon on instead of Perisic. Okay, it didn't quite work out for whatever reason because if you look at the couple of the goals that came in, I mean, probably just came probably emanated from one from that wing. However, I mean, I know we've mentioned the goalkeeper's error. I'm going to come back to that in a few minutes. And let me just say this, I mean, to guys who are watching us, wherever they're watching us from, I mean, please feel free to leave your comments and your thoughts in the comment section below. We'd love to hear from you. I know that this has been a really painful day for Tottenham fans on many levels. We're hoping that they will kick us up the league table and keep us in touch with those aspiring for top four. And then obviously, I mean, it would be nice to sort of put a span in the works of your noisy neighbors. And of course, I mean, them doing a double over us hasn't happened in as long as I can remember. I've not even seen them score a goal. I mean, against us at our stadium in almost 8 years. You know, and to come away with 2-0 victory is very, very tough to swallow from our perspective. However, let's give kudos where kudos are due. I mean, they've been top of the league so far this season. They've been playing some really good stuff. Hard for me to say that, but it's just a fact. You know, they have been playing really, really well. So it wasn't totally unexpected for them to have such a dominant performance at some point during the game. But some would say that, look, you still need a bit of heart from your team. You can't play against your local rivals, and you know, this is one day when, at least in the first half, I mean, we sort of went with the form book, if you like, However, I mean, it wasn't exactly that we started slowly because, okay, we had a few chances to begin with, and then they took over and then, I mean, dominated for most part of the first half. But what's I find really difficult to understand, if you like, one of the better expression is this, right? The same team played, well, not as great as they could have played in the first half, right? But second half, they dominated Arsenal totally. I mean, how does that happen? The same, okay, we say, oh, we're shot in midfield, we lack this expertise, we lack that person, but the same guys played the same second half. What happened there, Chuma?
I was reading something online that was quite interesting, and it said, say exactly what you're saying now, the same points. It reiterated the same points you're making now. And the person said, that means it's a mentality issue. There's a mentality issue at the club regarding, I don't know if they truly trust what they are doing. The reason the reason I'd feel disappointed is because I think I'm really disappointed because I watched Brighton play yesterday. I'll be very honest with you. I watched Brighton outplay Liverpool in a way that Tottenham haven't done since probably Pochettino was our coach.
Good
And
punch. Yeah.
they were positive every given point. Every pass was going forward. Even when they passed backwards, it was passed back to go forward again. And I look at Spurs and I don't see that. And I see them struggling with an identity in the first half of every other game we've played this season. Then come the second half, they go, why don't we just give it a go? And then they turn into these pressing players, these, you know, already you're outnumbered in midfield. That midfield thing, I've always said it to you, Soji, that for me, midfield is the key. Your defense plays better with a better midfield cover. Your attack plays better when there are people funneling the balls wide or playing through balls. And the problem with, so the Perisic conundrum that Didi was talking about. I remember when Pochettino was coach and you had Danny Rose. Danny Rose was defensively very suspect. A lot of people didn't know that because he had speed to come back, right? But he was defensively suspect. He couldn't tackle. So what he did was Pochettino played at his 4-2-3-1, where one of the midfielders' jobs, Dyer at the time, Dyer's job was to cover that half space once Danny Rose goes forward. So playing Perisic wouldn't be a problem if you played either three midfielders or found a way to block out your midfield so somebody could help him or help the centre back. And these are things he had a week to prepare for this match. That's my problem. I've always said this season we've had fixture fatigue. So I understand it doesn't quite work. If you remember his Chelsea season, they went in Europe when he won. They went in Europe. So he had time to prepare. It seems Conte has a difficulty when there's cup competitions and league thing. It doesn't really work that well. But this time he had a week, and that's where, for me, I said offline, I said Conte might have to go. And it's hard for me to say it. I like the guy. But wing backs against wingers, we've seen proactive football defeat reactive football yet again. It's happening every single time. And, you know,
All right, so
the mentality is wrong, but the mentality is because they don't believe in what he's doing.
all right, so I think that's fair point, fair point. But let's take a look at the goals just to see what they. I mean, from our perspective, those goals probably don't represent what I call value for money from a Spurs perspective, because if you go into a match, I mean, you want to go and give in your best, right? And for me, I'm not one to slate players or our team, but I don't know what's going on with Lloris. I mean, every match he has to have a clanger. I mean, and this for me is just a bridge too far. I mean, you I don't know. I mean, okay, I was listening to one of the pundits on the match, Luisa, and he said, "Oh, this thing happened really, really quick." So on the face of it, that it might appear that any keeper should save that, and but it happened so quickly. But I just thought it just didn't cover itself in glory from in that moment, more so when you've had more than ample opportunity to redeem yourself and put in a performance of what I call top quality. I mean, that was for the first goal. Okay, Second goal. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if who agrees with me, but I mean, Gary Neville said something along the lines of, I mean, even though I mean he was well placed and all that, but you'd expect your keeper to deal with that sort of shot from distance. Again, that didn't happen. I might be unfair here. I mean, I don't know. Is it me?
No, I think that's a bit unfair on Loris. I think it was a very good shot, very well placed, and it was with power. Yes, it was a long way away, but it would have taken a world class save to get to that. I think the problem with that is that we were carved open like the Red Sea. There was nothing closing down in midfield. The boys were turned and they were running towards their goal, and they were running towards the ball
Yeah,
instead
that
of
was
having their
transition, wasn't it? Again, from the
yeah,
distribution that was poor in
yeah,
the first place,
yeah, yeah.
because the
They
distribution
lost.
that came
Yeah,
out in the first place went straight to them, and they
that's right.
sort of transitioned very, very quickly, didn't they?
Yeah, they transitioned, but we weren't organized in that transition. Somebody should have been on him. When you turn and you look like that, you've got to size up the situation and you've got to get in place and you've got to pick up the runners, and nobody picked him up. And it's a problem we have. We don't close players down in our midfield, in our defense. Even, I mean, sorry to go back to Cess. He was standing off him. He showed him down the line. He showed Saka down the line, but he stood off him. There was no way that cross should have been coming in the first place. And likewise, on the transition, they were standing off them. So we don't close down, and players who are at the very height of their confidence, they're going to stick those ones away all day long.
All right, we've got a lucky break. At some point in the match when what's that young man's name? Thomas Partey. Almost had a worldie going, and he was going to repeat what happened at the Emirates.
Another one.
Yeah. Thankfully, that didn't go in. I don't know where I hit my head today, because I would have given him two worldies in two
season. In the same season.
In the same season. Same season.
In the same season. Two North London derbies in the same season.
And okay, from a tactical perspective, right? I'm not a great fan of Thomas. I mean, what's that young man's name who used to play for Arsenal? Merson, right? And yeah, but he made a point which is very difficult to sort of argue against. He said, look, you know how dangerous Partey is, how effective he is for those guys up the road. But we didn't have any plan to deal with him. He just sort of he had almost like the freedom of the park. He didn't. Now some will say that maybe having Sa in the middle, maybe he didn't have the sort of news, the experience to sort of shadow him. But don't forget that he's playing to instructions, and if you're not doing a man marking job or that sort of say, okay, keep an eye on this chap. You sort of very, very zonal in your marking and your shape. You want to try and keep your shape, So I think it's caught between the devil and deep blue sea, because what I don't know if you noticed this, but every time they got the ball, Arsenal got the ball, Partey used to drop deep, And when he drops deep, it's very very difficult for anyone to track, except one of the forwards went and did the tracking. So that was a bit of so I mean. Chuma, you're nodding your head in agreement.
No, for me, it's that 3 against 2. That 3v2. In order for you to win as in a 3v2, you look at the best teams in the world at the moment. We're talking of the elite. Every single one of them is playing 3 midfielders at the moment. Real Madrid, PSG, AC Milan. You come here, City, Liverpool, even though they're playing badly now. Newcastle are playing well, 3 midfielders. Arsenal are playing with 3 midfielders. They want to own midfield. And they always have that spare guy. And they have one person box to box and one person who patrols. For you to come up against them with 2 midfield players, your midfield players have to be pure world-class killers. And Spurs do not possess pure world-class killing midfielders. We have Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, and we now played Sarr and not Bissouma. Bissouma himself, who played in a 2 for Potter has been given a whole different set of instructions that I think has muted him as a player for Spurs. He's
It's a
not the same
disaster.
player I have admired for the last 2 to 3 years at Brighton. He's not the same guy. And if you put
It's a
Bissouma
disaster.
in this Arsenal team, Bissouma would be a beast in this Arsenal team. Much as all the things we want to talk about, and then of course Lloris's incidences. It's we're not pressing. There's no organization in terms of a press. When do you press? What are the triggers? Like that was the thing I used to love about watching Poch. And I'm sorry I keep going back to Poch all over again, but I used to love that because you'd see a trigger, Harry Kane would go, Son would go to the other side, and you saw what was happening. You saw midfield following. And, you know, once again, like I said, Brighton yesterday, you're watching that. You're watching Newcastle. And these guys are pressing like devils and getting the ball back, making the team feel uncomfortable. Like even if Partey had moved backwards and we had three midfielders, where are you going to move the ball to? What half space are you going to pass to? We've covered it. You have to go backwards to your keeper, and our forward is chasing your keeper. So that would have kept the game in balance. But we had no one, we had nothing. The set of instructions are poor, and I'm sorry, I was online after the game and seeing so many Spurs fans writing, even if we were going to lose, if we'd given it a go from the start, we pressed more efficiently and we played football that the fans could at least enjoy. There was no enjoying this, even though we came back in the second half and we played better. There was no enjoying this. And Odegaard had space. Odegaard is one of those players that if you give him a little space, the boy can thread passes, he can move, and once you just back off, and Spurs just have this thing of backing off, especially in the first halves of games, we
Back
back
off.
off a lot. We back off a lot of players, and I'm like, no, no, no. Roy Keane always says that same thing every time. The danger is the ball. The danger is the ball. Go to the ball. Go to the ball. Forget the space behind you. Forget passing to the other guy. Go to the ball. Spurs backed off, and as we back off, we become more timid, and you could see like you know Christian Romero is a qualified defender, but even he's starting to look quite suspect now in this Spurs team, and that's saying a lot. So that's where we are.
Yeah, Deji. I mean, all right. So we have them playing a blinder in the first half. Give them that, right? But if you have a look at the whole match overall, right? I didn't I didn't see them in terms of threat on goal, as in put us in real danger. I mean, a lot in the match. I mean, if you, okay, they had that okay, the goal from Odegaard, a good goal because I mean, he had freedom of the park in the middle. Fair enough. They had the opportunity from Partey that hit the crossbar, but I didn't really see any other major opportunities. I mean, or unless I was watching another match, you know. So it's people are always saying that, oh, Arsenal, I mean, pass you to death by 1,000 passes, you know. So it then came down to, like I said, goals change matches, right? Opportunities change matches. Look at the second half. Ramsdale was the man of the match. I mean, that says it all. If one of those opportunities had gone in, that would have changed the whole complexion of the match, in my view. You know, because if you think about it, we scored early in the second half. I mean, who's to say they don't crumble? You know?
Who's to say? The truth is, though, they were 2-0 up.
Yeah.
So their mindset changes and they know all they have to do is stay compact. And guess what? They probably also think, let them have the ball in the last third. They can't hurt us. And we couldn't. We got a few chances. The keeper was good, but look, they could have gone up a gear. If we'd got one, I bet you they would have gone up a gear and they would have got another goal. So I'm not buying this second half. We played so much better. Yes, we did, but they were leading 2-0.
Oh gosh.
It
So
makes a world of difference. They could afford to sit back and catch
I'm
us
here
on the
for you.
counter, which they tried to do. So
Yeah.
yes, we got a few chances because they were sitting back, but I don't think it was that we played that much better. It was them sitting back.
I think it was. I think it was probably a matter of the pressure that put them under. I mean, it's six of one and half a dozen of the other. But I think the key is that I mean we played a lot better in the second half. And I think like Schumann said earlier on, it's one of these things where first half was very poor performance according to Cheno Jallo. Cheno, thank you for joining us. Let's see if I can find his comment on here. Where is it? I think, let me have, there you go. Just bear up me 1 second. Right, so there you go. Right, we have one more person trying to join us. Let's see if he can join us. He's come and he's not been able to join. Yinka, I still can't hear you. I don't know what's happening with your device. But yeah, I mean, like I was saying, I mean, if you're here for the first time, this is ComeonyespursTV. Leave your comments in the comment section below. We'd love to hear from you. Like I said, someone said first half was very poor, but we improved in the second half. I mean, so what we couldn't get through. I mean, thanks to the amount. Well, Ramsdale gave a man of the match performance. Tell me, right? And like I said earlier on, I don't like to have to go at our players, right? And Lloris has done a fantastic job for us in the past. You know, he saved us quite a few times. But the errors are just getting way too many, you know, and in important and key matches for that matter. I know that Chuma mentioned something along the lines of he thinks his mind is off top flight football already because it's retired.
He's mentally checked out. That retirement from France is just the beginning. He's mentally checked out of football. I think he's checked out from football for over a year.
Yeah, so that's a big.
And I blame Spurs, and I blame every manager that has ever come in for Spurs since Pochettino. I blame Mourinho, I blame Nuno, and I blame Conte, because all three of them could have told the club, I want a direct replacement or rival for this guy. But instead, they keep buying these understudies, like people like Joe Hart are finished or at the end of their careers. Fraser Forster was a very good keeper years ago. He should have been bought years ago when he was much younger, and he could have probably seen off Lloris. Nick Pope joined Newcastle when he could have joined Spurs. He's 30 years old. He's at the peak of his powers now, you know, and it's the same problem with Harry Kane as well. You need to buy rivals and not understudies. Understudies are a waste of your time, especially if you want to win now. So Spurs have gotten two managers in Mourinho and Conte that are win now managers. But you're not buying win now rivals. You're still doing the model of trying to buy young, grow them up and win. But these guys want to win now. So you are at a problem point with these guys because their mentality and yours is different. And that's what we're seeing. That's why people like Lloris have stayed at this club for so long. If you had a win now manager and you had win now resources, Lloris would be gone. Lloris would have gone by now. He'd have gone back to Lyon and would have gotten a new keeper, you know. And now I'm hearing Pickford and all that. I'm sorry. I'm also very disappointed hearing the links to Pickford. If I'm going for a keeper, I'll go for the Brentford guy, Raya. I'll go for the Brentford guy. I'll go for guys that can use their feet, that are imposing in the air, but they can use their feet and play out. Lloris, concentration, his distribution, everything was, even his throw out to Kulusevski. There was one particular break that could have happened, but his throw to Kulusevski was like, it sort of put him in a position where they could close in on him. I was like, come on. Like, you know, so it's yeah, Lloris, Sessignon in this game, I came away with two of them not wanting to see them play for Spurs again. That's how hard it is.
If I can just say, Chuma, you're absolutely right, because Lloris does not instill any confidence in his defense, even in his team. He sets everybody on edge, and he sets the tone for the match that way. You know, he was very disappointed, and he's been so in too many key games now. We really need a change. You know, it's not good enough, because you can't have these sort of games and you're handing the initiative to the other side. It's just not on. So really, we should have a good keeper who can take over from him now.
Yeah, I mean, as someone said, it's sorry. I mean, you guys said you couldn't connect. Sorry, because similar to the midfield to attack. You know, So it's I say we're very poor in the first half, but much better in the second half, and it's been a calling card all season. I mean, it's like yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to argue with that, isn't it? Um, yeah, I don't know. Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Because
The
Man
problem
City.
is,
speaking
We're
of,
going to Man City on Thursday. That's where we're going. We're going to Man City on Thursday, who are still smarting from a derby defeat.
yeah, it's
Who are going to come out full guns blazing now that Arsenal are over 6 points ahead of them now. They have to come
8
out to
points.
kill.
8
8 points.
points.
And
8
Tottenham
points.
are going right
8
there.
points.
8 points. There you go. So they have to come out to kill. And they're not going to lose 2 games in a row. So Spurs have to be, it's yeah, it's a difficult one to. So I don't know what Antonio Conte can say or do in this week. I fully expect to see him walk away this week. This is how bad it is. I think he might walk away.
Oh wow! So I mean,
Let his hands.
I think I don't think he'll walk away so soon. But I think he may see the handwriting on the wall that he's on a hiding to nothing with the ENIC guys, and they're just not going to give him what he feels he needs. And he's not a coach that can get the best out of these limited ability players. So yeah, it's a mismatch, and it's proving to be so. It's a mismatch.
yeah. So I mean, okay. So we talked about resources, right? Now, which would probably get a lot of people going here about the team, B the board, and what you might call buying policy, if you like. Now, Inga says City is the type of game that we go and win to paper over the big issues because we've done so in the past. I mean, when people expect us to lose to City, we go there and we win, and that has been like consistently done over the years, hasn't it?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's it's
it's
it's it's in
happened.
keeping. It's it is.
Go ahead, Suma.
When you have no hope. No, sorry. When you have no hope, Spurs give you hope. When you have hope, Spurs takes away your hope. It's the hope that kills with Spurs. It's hope, and right now they gave me an hour's grace. I'm really sorry. My phone is blowing up now. Like all the goons are coming out from everywhere out on me now. Like they're not even waiting to get to work tomorrow. They're all on me now. God, what a night.
I know, right? So it's sorry state of affairs all around. I looked at my messages. I had about 560 something messages on the sports forums alone. I thought to myself, oh my goodness, it's meltdown time, and everyone having meltdown from saying, oh, the manager's got to go. They got to change the whole team. Hurricane can go to United. Sack the whole team. Well, I think maybe at times like this is probably not the time to panic. One, B, and also to sort of take what you might call a bit of a balanced view. If we look at, I mean, it hurts more than anything else because we lost to Arsenal, right? Being our neighbors up the road. But if you look at what the record over the years, right, they haven't won here in the last 8 years. We've done them over the last 8 years consistently. So that's bound to come to an end at some point. And if it's going to come to an end, probably this is the best time from their perspective for that to come to an end because they're playing really well. They've had plenty of time to build their team, they build the system, and it's working really well for them. And they're riding high at the moment, right? So if we look at it on form, we know that form goes out the window when it comes to the derby. But this is one derby match that went to form. I mean, that hasn't that actually went to form against all odds in the last God knows how many years. So I guess we'll give them that. They're probably entitled to the odd aberration, if you like. Well, from our perspective, I mean, it's not really good at all. I don't know what you guys think.
Tottenham letting you down has become a stock in trade, and it's gone on for too long. I think if we continue to go around in circles and always looking at the bright side, it doesn't help us to get to the truth of where the problem is. Look at Arsenal. Whatever has happened to them, they've always tried to play the same way. They've tried to recruit coaches that would have them playing in the way that they want to play, front foot, free flowing, attacking football with players who have a fantastic touch and are going for goal. We're mixed up. We never seem to know what it is we want to be. We had Poch, we got Poch by mistake, but he had us playing the way we loved. And he actually was a coach who built the team in accordance with our philosophy, both in terms of bringing players through and in terms of playing football, the exciting, free flowing front foot football. But since then, ever since the owners have decided that, oh, maybe the solution to the problem is to get a winning coach, it's been confusion. Because when they get these people, they don't give them what they need. So until somebody gets it right and figures that this is what we're going to do and sticks to it, we're not going to get anywhere. We're going to be going round and round in circles, making explanations. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that, maybe we just don't know what we're doing at the minute.
Well, this is Comedy Sports TV. If you're joining us for the first time, we're reviewing the match between Tottenham and Arsenal. It took place at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where we lost 2-0 to the Arsenal, and we're just going over the key moments in the match and the highlights. Yinka says big games are decided by moments. The others didn't. The others didn't take their took their own, and we didn't take ours. We didn't even take not even half chances that we had. And we had 4 clear-cut chances to score, and we flopped the ball. I mean, yeah, I mean, I thought the opportunities that we had were much better than their opportunities, if you like. I guess we had the Nketiah opportunity where it was like one-on-one on goal against Lloris twice. Okay, Lloris pulled off 2 good saves to prevent him from scoring. But by and large, I think we had the better chances in the second half. And if we were taking one of those chances, hey, who knows? That might have changed the game. Like Yinka said, um, big games like this are decided by key moments. Do you agree?
Well, put it this way. I think if we'd had Ramsdale in goal, the result would have been different.
Yeah,
So I think to say that much,
yeah.
if we had Ramsdale in our goal, the result would have been different today. So yeah, there's some merit in that.
Yeah. So I mean,
A tale of two keepers. It's a
Mm.
tale of two keepers. That's the headline. A tale of two keepers. They have the guy who I think should be England number one. I thought Ramsdale should have been England number one at the World Cup. I think he's much better than Pickford, and we're going for Pickford by all the rumors. It tells you the mindset of these owners. And I was thinking the other day about Enoch, and I was saying Enoch bought Spurs in 2001. All these owners that have come now have come after Roman, and Roman gave them a blueprint. Enoch still operates how football operated then, where it's all about business, profits, blah blah blah. You spend as much, keep your manager in the tight rein. But football changed the minute Roman Abramovich arrived in the UK, and it became all about money, director of football that knows what he's doing, and finding a manager that aligns to that thing. And Enoch are still stuck in that old version of what they used to be. And even though they built the stadium, they've done all these things, they did it for themselves and for profit. Now you need an owner who is going to be, you need like a very, very powerful person financially, or powerful group or consortium or whatnot. You're looking at what Chelsea are doing. Ironically, my friend who's a Chelsea fan said the players Chelsea are buying, the young players they are buying, plus the veterans they have, is a team built for Pochettino. He said that to me the other day, and I laughed, and I thought it was funny. He said, "It's a team built for Pochettino. This is what you guys should have done for Poch, giving him the best young kids in Europe and some veterans, and that would have worked." We had Redknapp and we had Pochettino. They fit the model, and all they needed was some more financing. But these guys said no, and they went and, like Deji said, they went to get uh, ready-made coaches. Unfortunately, those guys need you to back them by buying the exact type specific player that they want. We don't do that. Mourinho wanted Milan Skriniar. We got Joe Rodon. This guy wanted Bastoni. We couldn't get Bastoni. We couldn't get Bastoni. So we end up getting Longley. I like Longley. I like all these players. And I think a lot of them would play better for other coaches than him. That's my view. My view is like these same players we've assembled right now, I wouldn't be very surprised if he walked away tomorrow, Pochettino or some other front foot proactive manager comes in. He could actually do a job till the end of the season and get us into the top 4. Once again, papering over the cracks, but then showing you that you can play front foot football. I'm really tired of reactive football now. I like Conte. I like Mourinho. I like them outside of Spurs. I've liked Conte a bit in Spurs, but right now I am completely tired of reactive, turgid football, trying to get your wing backs. If the wing backs aren't creating, then there's nothing. And then your wing backs aren't who you want them to be. Emerson isn't your choice. Perisic is your only choice. And Perisic is producing. He's your only real choice of wing back, and he's actually producing. So he should have shown the club, just get this guy what he wants, and they will produce for him. But they didn't. And what we have is, so I would, I would call that boy from Udinese, the Nigerian Italian boy, Destiny. I'd pull him out of Udinese and get rid and bench Sessegnon right now, or kick Sessegnon out the club, or loan him out. I'll get that Destiny boy. Yeah, I'll pay the money to get him out of his contract or his loan or whatever we've done with Udinese. Tell him no. January we'll pull him out. Bring that boy over, and I'll play Spence. He has nothing to lose now, Conte or whoever comes in. If Conte walks, I still think
you know that Spence wasn't even on the bench today.
Yeah, of course.
So
he wasn't even on the bench.
So here's the conundrum from a coach's perspective and from what you might call the big picture type mentality type thing, right?
Go ahead.
If you want to sort of look at that, right? So have a look at what Inca said. He says that correct that you took the Lego heads 3 years of misery build, right? Can we wait that long for Conte to get it right? That's one question, right? Arteta sacked the poor players and replaced them with better, right? Spurs need to do the same.
But he's not giving you 3 years. Antonio Conte does not give you 3 years.
Well, okay, so what the thing is,
so that's out the window already.
Are we then to give him that time?
Who, Conte?
No, that's what I'm saying. He can't give you 3 years because he wants to leave with 18 months. He's gone.
He won't be around in 3 years' time. Never. He won't be around in 3 years' time. No way. He'll be gone.
Right. So
if he's not gone this summer, he'll be gone in the next 6 months.
So that's
I say February.
Right.
I say February. I think if he doesn't get what he wants in the January transfer window, I think he would walk.
Keep your comments coming in. This is ComeonyespursTV. Subscribe to our channel. Leave a comments or like the channel so we can keep receiving our videos whenever they come out. And also, if you need to get notified anytime we go live, click on the notification bell button. Right, this is ComeonyespursTV. Keep your comments coming in. Yinka also says, correct, Chuma. Right now, cried out for a striker and defender when he had us in second place. General Levi, and we got a broken Luis Saha and that Banga Nielsen, both on loan. The board are masters of putting in plasters. Now, it's easy for us, the fans, right? I'm not holding some sort of brief for the board here. However, we've never been money bags. We've never had the sort of money that City had. We've never had the kind of money that Chelsea had. Look at Chelsea now. They go out and they're buying £100 million player who has what, 2 years experience, 20-year-old. They're paying £200,000 a week. I mean, how does that even work? So it's
Soji.
Yes.
We don't need to be money bags, honestly. Brighton aren't money bags. If that guy was coaching Tottenham today, we would be happier than we are tonight.
Well, okay,
about the ideology.
I think some of these things are easy to say, if you like, with one good performance or when you see. So
the thing is,
let me finish this. Let me finish this.
Land. Okay.
Think about it, right? So Liverpool haven't suddenly become a poor team in one game. Chelsea hasn't suddenly become a very bad team. Everyone has what they call cycles, right? And in those cycles, you're going to have bad patches when things don't go quite right for you, and you have to work on the areas where things don't quite go right to be able to get yourself back on track. These are the same players we had last season, right? Who got us to the top four, give or take one or two, and we've actually gone and actually strengthened. Now, imagine that we didn't strengthen and we're in this position now. What will people say? We've gone out and we bought 6 new players from the time when we were like almost like Del and Bay. I mean, it did a bit of a miracle, got us back into the top four. Went out of the market, bring people in, and you want him to perform miracles in one season. Come on, guys. I would say give him time. It's not going to happen in 10 seconds, And I mean, if you've had a mentality issue, I'm not sure mentality issues are taken care of in just like that. It takes time, take consistency, it take mind work, it take a lot of time to get things right. And I know that it's easy when we lose matches and people just go absolute gaga about how, oh yeah, we should have done this, should have done that. Hindsight is always a wonderful thing. Hindsight is always 20/20 vision. I mean, look at the selection today, for instance, right? Sarr, I thought Sarr gave a really good account of himself. Okay, fine. He may not have as experienced as Bissouma, but from what we had, I thought he gave a really good shift, put in a really good shift, right?
Yeah, I thought he played well.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one of these things that it's very, very difficult to legislate against. I mean, I've got plenty of comments coming in. Keep them coming in. Now, I've got Deji saying that as long as Spurs are in the Champions League, Conte ain't going nowhere. So if he gets on the Champions League again, hey, well, there we go. Sunday Ocheni says agree 100% with Ogadeji, right? The club isn't acting like it has a clear vision, and Paratici should come under similar scrutiny as Enik and Levi. Really, Chuma? You think Paratici needs to be looked at again? I thought he's done a good job.
Okay, I start off with I'm 50-50 on Paratici. So where I first had the problem with Paratici was when he got Fonseca as our coach. No, when Levy and Hitchin got Fonseca. I felt Fonseca fit the mold of a Spurs manager. Front foot, not very defensive. He coached Shakhtar and he coached Roma before Mourinho took over. And the guy was a Portuguese guy that played good football. He came to the club, he agreed everything with Levy, and then Paratici arrived, and Paratici didn't like him because Paratici wanted someone more defensive. Paratici ended that deal with Fonseca. That was the beginning of the end of this cycle that we're on now. We now got Gattuso, but Gattuso was kicked off because of fan outrage. Then he settled on Nuno. Nuno came in, and this guy instructed Nuno to play. He instructed. This is not Nuno making that choice to play that 4-3-3. Nuno has never played 4-3-3 since Valencia. But he told him, if you're coming here, your brief is to play attack. But how can you tell a defensive-minded manager that I all of a sudden want you to go against your ideology to play attacking football? So that's why we never clicked to that Nuno guy, because Nuno has a structure, and we broke his structure, and he tried to be something he wasn't, and he got found out. He now went to his friend, Conte, and said, look, you've been in the sidelines. United are not giving you this job. Come and take Spurs, see what you can do with us, and I promise you money. But in terms of identities, like what Deji said earlier on, you're a Spurs fan that started from the 70s. You saw Keith Birkinshaw. You saw Peter Shreves. You saw David Pleat. There was a style of football that Spurs have always played.
Very valuable.
Where did it go wrong? George Graham. Why? Because George Graham is reactive and turgid. It did not work for Spurs. He still won a trophy, but nobody at Spurs liked it. They even liked Ozzy Adiles' football was just guns ablaze, no defense, and we were laughing. We're losing and laughing, but we're scoring 4 or 5 goals. Kevin Keegan style, exactly. But we loved this football. We loved all that stuff, Then you got you got a couple of guys that just didn't blend in properly, and then you got Harry Redknapp, another gongo guy, played attractive football, got burnt by Daniel Levy. Then you now locked into Pochettino after AVB, who was Mourinho-esque in his football, got saved by Gareth Bale in one magical season that Gareth Bale sold himself completely and got bought by Real Madrid. But Spurs have this ideology. It's not the Spurs way. It's not a thing. It's just the way we play. We are more comfortable playing attractive football, even if we lose. It's sad to say we didn't win trophies with Pochettino, but my goodness, we enjoyed the football to a point up until that last season when he was depressed. I thought that was football depression, because he just knew what he needed. And this is to counter your point earlier on, Soji, about we're not money bags. We never have been. Pochettino got Sadio Mane to come to Spurs' training ground. That was a done deal. It did not cost millions. It did not cost hundreds of millions. He got players to answer his call. He got Paulo Dybala to pick up his call. And Daniel Levy and ENIC screwed it up time after time after time after time after time, right? I'm reading what Sunday's saying. Ask De Zerbi to raid this Spurs team, and he'd be a happier coach. Yes, if De Zerbi took over these guys right now, they're better than what he has at Brighton. It's coaching, and like Deji said, he can't coach this standard of players. So why is he coaching us? That's my view now. I'm completely flipped that side. This is no longer I like Conte, I love Conte. Now I'm like, look, if you can't coach these guys, then you shouldn't be there. And that's not an insult to Conte. It's just you can't coach us. We should get someone who can.
So, right, so this is fantastic. I love the fact that it says, I mean, True One African says Conte got the makeshift players that he wanted. And as much as we blame the board, he's not doing anything magical.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's Conte now. What is it? Is it Conte? Is it the board? Is it the players? So which is it? What exactly is it, Deji?
No, I think it's the board first and foremost, and then it's the coach that the board have brought in. The coach is the wrong coach for what they're trying to do. So bottom line, it's the board. The coach will be fine elsewhere. He just won't be fine under ENIC because they won't give him what he needs. So yeah, it's both the coach and the board, but the board first. They're the ones who've messed it up. They're the ones who've messed the whole picture, the whole ideology, what they should be trying to achieve. It's not clear. We've got round pegs in square holes. It's as simple as that.
Right. So which leads me to Yinka's question. It says, good show, guys. Question: the Spurs way or the winning way?
The Spurs way can win, but it has
the Spurs way will eventually win.
It'll win, and we'll be happy. It's Arsenal are winning the Spurs way.
Right. So what is the Spurs way? It will be good to know what's the Spurs way exactly.
The Spurs way is proactive, front foot, attacking football, bringing young players through and mixing them with experienced, good footballers.
We've had the Spurs way for God knows how long. Why hasn't it worked to now?
No, that's the point.
It didn't work under Pochettino because Pochettino made a very big mistake. Pochettino's biggest error was he thought that by getting the top 4 and Champions League, that he would build till he could dominate. He didn't realize the truth, which Mourinho realized early. Pep Guardiola also realized that as soon as you win the League Cup, you go for these small cups and dominate them. As soon as you do that, you create a winning mentality. You should check out the number of times we were semi-finalists under Poch.
Yeah.
We were 2-time League Cup finalists, and we were four-time semi-finalists in League Cup and FA Cups. Yeah, he'll always end up fielding a younger side, either to play this or he has a Europa League game, and he just ended up not trying to win those competitions because he said, and he said it himself, that, I only care about the league and Champions League. And when he said that, I felt that was a certain arrogance that I felt, no, dude, if you win the League Cup and the FA Cup, you have so much credit in the bank and your players now have belief. Yeah. He messed up in that side. That's one part of Pochettino. If I could go back in time to talk to him, I'll tell him, dude, if you win League Cup, one League Cup first, go for the FA Cup next, forget league, just do those things, we will win everything. And he didn't. And that will forever hang over him because he had Kane, Son, all these guys at the peak of their physical powers. He had those guys, and they were good.
Yeah, yeah.
So he didn't take it seriously.
You've got to identify the philosophy and stick with it. If Pochettino had taken those right decisions and then had been backed when he was crying out to be backed, when we were just one place off winning the league, and he said, go and get me the kind of furniture we need for this fantastic house that you've built. If they'd done that for him, I think we might have been telling a different story now. And by the time he went, he was
always a wonderful thing, isn't it? Because we all know how fantastic it is when you look back and you think, okay, fine, where are we? What could we have done better? What could we have if we had this or if we had that? Football is always about could have, should have, might have, right?
Would have.
Exactly. Chuma, this is what happened to Lego Head's first season FA Cup. It bought him time and backing. This is what happened.
Exactly. Arsenal fans could always say to me when I was more or less trashing Arteta, I was like, "Oh, Arteta isn't really a good coach." This, that, and the third. They said to me, "But he's won an FA Cup. What have you won?" And I'd keep quiet because it was true. He'd won an FA Cup with, and this wasn't this incarnation of a team he has now. That was a worse team. He had Nicolas Pepe in that final. I remember that final very clearly against Chelsea. And Chelsea had them on the ropes. And all of a sudden, he just decided to play over Chelsea's high line. And he just killed them. And he won that FA Cup. And that bought him a lot of credit in the bank. And he said, look, I won an FA Cup. If nothing else, give me this time. And look at what it's done. But with Conte, you can't give Conte what he wants. I know what Conte wants. If the Qataris took over tomorrow, Conte would win the league. If the Qataris took over tomorrow and gave us that money, Conte would win the league.
Playing the same system?
But we can't afford what he wants.
They playing the same system? Because
yes, playing the same system, but with the personnel would be different. You'd have Hakimi as right wing back. You would have, you'd have someone very qualified as left wing back. You would have 3 better midfielders like Brozovic, Modric level kind of guys in his midfield. He would still have Kane and Son up front, and he would kill. But he would have fully qualified guys playing for him. His 3 defenders would be Romero, and definitely not Dyer, probably Bastoni.
Stronger bench as well.
Yes.
What did you say? So
if the Qataris came,
will have a stronger bench as well.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah.
So,
well, our guys are never going to shell out for that kind of team. Forget it.
They would never do that.
Right. So, would it be because A, we don't have the money, or B, we have the money, we don't want to spend it, or C, it's somewhere in between?
Yeah, I think it's in between. They have a clear idea what they're trying to do. Don't get me wrong. Their priorities are different from ours. That is the honest truth. As long as they can scrape into the Champions League, and that's what they're hoping to do this season, and they can continue to improve their infrastructure, and they're balancing their books, and somebody like these guys now, if they do come in and buy 1/4 of the club for $1 billion, I mean, hey, who's complaining? They're certainly not going to be complaining, but I don't know how much good that's ever going to do us if it happens. Yeah, they have a different outlook from we as diehard fans. It's understandable. It's business. I'm not faulting them. I'm just saying that they're wrong for us.
Interesting. Keep your comments coming in. This is ComeonyespursTV. We are reviewing the match between Tottenham and Arsenal, which took place at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We lost 2-0 to our neighbours, and it done the double over us. I mean, they haven't done that to us in God knows how long. How many years now? 14 years. That's painful. Really, really painful. I mean, from our perspective, I thought today's match would have been a turning point for us from a positive perspective. It has gone the other way, but that's football, And look forward to the next match. The next match is away to City. Now, again, on paper, it's like that's like
beautiful match.
yeah, we lost that match. That's it. Forget it. We have no chance, right? But we know what happened in the past. What's happened? We've had situations like this in the past. I remember one particular season when everybody wrote us off totally and completely, and we went there and we won. I can't remember who was the manager then. Do you remember, Chuma?
I'm trying to remember. I think it was probably Redknapp. I think.
Oh no! This is much.
It
This
was
is much
Redknapp.
more recent. This is more.
Their manager.
I think it's probably. I think it was
more recent. More recent.
Yeah, Conte. I think it was.
It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be Conte himself.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean Conte himself?
Yeah, because
well,
when we I think at that point in the season we had
at that point everything wasn't clicking for his
exactly.
It wasn't clicking for his style of football, and they came out. Look, it's the main difference this season in Conte's thing is, I think the preparation time was different. I don't know if the death of his friend has affected him or affected our training. I don't know if that's a factor. Ventroni has been with him forever, and for that guy to die and the coincidence of our performances, I don't know. But those guys last year or towards that end of last season, they looked more focused. They looked very intense. They were very front foot, and now it's just the opposite. Now it's like they're very tentative when they start. They start backwards first. They defend a lot, and it's just, I don't know. I hope against Man City. But like you said, we said earlier, it's the hope that gets you. I have no hopes for that game. I have no thoughts regarding that match. I don't know what he's going to do in that game, but I would love a turnaround for Conte and Spurs. I would really do. But the way I'm looking at it now, all I can see is a parting of the ways, and then these inner guys trying to redo their old model with a sort of Pochettino-like guy. That's what I think they're going to do next. They're going to say we've tried it and
talking of models. Sunday Cheney says, look, the Spurs way almost won the UCL Champions League, right? It was in the semi-finals, and as Ogachuma has said, the Spurs way at our neighbors is about to win the league, God forbid, right? Now, discuss.
Yeah.
Have a look. Yeah. So, another question which you guys asking, I'll put it up on the screen, and if you guys can see this, and this is very interesting, And what he says is this. I'm going to put it up now, right? He goes, question: if you're building a beautiful house in Lekki Phase 1, right? Do you spend the budget to buy the furniture before you finish the building, or finish it then go shopping? Was this ENIC versus Poch issue?
Well, I remember at the time it caused a lot of angst between Poch and ENIC. Poch felt that they should go out on a limb and get him the players he needed to get him over the line, and that they didn't do that. That was the 2 transfer windows when we didn't buy anything. I have no way of knowing what Spurs' finances were, but I think I've made the point on the forum before that, look, did you really have to build a world-class stadium? Did you really have to spend all that money on the stadium and leave yourselves completely without money to build the team? Couldn't you have built a good enough stadium that could sit the 60K fans that we need to get these magic numbers in, and then have some money to buy players and win things?
Well, I think it's all about you'll have been able to raise the money on the infrastructure rather than on the team.
Well, that's the magic. That's the magic that DL is supposed to bring to the table. He's a financial magician. He knows how to get these monies in. I don't know. But I'm just thinking, if we could get the balance right and not have spent as much on that and had a little bit to spend on the team, that would have been more of a balance than what we have now.
I wish it was that realistic. I mean, from the little I know about running businesses and finance, right? I mean, if you're going to raise that sort of money, you probably need to have it secured on something, And I'm pretty sure that the most effective security for them will have been the stadium as opposed to player assets, which can go down in value very, very quickly. I mean,
remember that the kind of players that Poch wanted were people like Mane, who we could afford, but Enid felt they couldn't pay his salary because I think the fee was agreed, but they wouldn't pay what he wanted as a salary. Hence, he went to Liverpool. I think there was one other like that we missed out on because of similar. And I really don't know
Quite a few.
what
I mean,
exactly.
William went to Chelsea because of the salary. Remember?
Well,
They
there you
took
go.
the of us at the last minute.
It's always been, like I always say on the group, I said it before, that whenever I see that net spend thing, I said net spend is a scam. I don't like seeing net spend because it makes you feel like, oh, the club didn't really spend any money. No, they did. I had that running thing with Zeus where he'd show net spend of Liverpool was like 120, net spend of Spurs is 190, something like that. And I said, look, let's go to wages paid. When you see the wages, it tells you everything you need to know about a club, the wages they are paying. Liverpool have like 4 or 5 guys that are on 150 and above. They have a couple of guys on 200. Spurs barely have one player on 200,000, and that's Kane.
Kane and Son a little bit behind. That's
And
it.
Son is just behind. Son is about 100, 110. And then they have
Yeah.
these incentives thrown in. But Spurs, on average, like to keep their players below £90,000 a week. £90,000 a week is what young players that are emerging at City are getting after they shine for like a month or 2 months. They get 90K. If they become solidified like Foden is now discussing a 250 deal. So Phil Foden is going to be earning more than Harry Kane. So it tells you the
Everything.
draw. The draw is always about the money, the wages paid, and Spurs don't pay wages. Spurs can pay your transfer fee, which is why they have this particular tactic. I don't know if you guys have noticed it. You probably have seen the messages about Pedro Porro of Sporting Lisbon, that Spurs have agreed with him. And it's not about Spurs have this thing where they go and meet the player, they'll find out he's on 40 grand and they'll give you 80, guaranteed. And the guy is so happy to be earning twice that salary. He says, yeah, I'll join your club. Now Spurs have him. They've turned his head. Then they now go up to the club and go, look, we already have Poro. Now you guys have to agree to our terms. And the club are like, no. But the boy is now going to training thinking I'm a Spurs man. They know this has happened. So now Spurs are trying to battle down his 40 million to 27. Levy's offered 27 million for this boy when his buyout clause is clearly written 35 to 40. But he's done 27 and wants to give them a player on loan because he knows he's gotten the boy by telling him, I've doubled your wages.
All right, so
and now Sporting Lisbon don't want an unhappy player. But this is what Spurs have been doing time immemorial. And when it doesn't work is when a bigger club comes in, and Chelsea are looking at Pedro Porro at the moment. Chelsea are going to go in there and go, here's the 40 million. Pedro Porro, 100K a week.
100K a week. Gone.
You just saw what happened to Arsenal and Modric this morning. Modric that has been holding Arsenal's top on his Instagram. Modric wore a Chelsea top and said, I am so happy and proud to be at Chelsea Football Club. If that doesn't tell you what football is about these days, then I don't know what else. The guy has been saying, I want to play for Arsenal. I'm an Arsenal guy. I play Arsenal on my FIFA. This guy wore a Chelsea top today. He's everywhere, kissing the badge. And I don't blame him. No. I don't blame him. Fantastic wages. Fantastic wages. And Shakhtar Donetsk get the money because they've lost out on so many players because of the war with Russia. So many players were given free transfers. So the club has lost so much money. Foreign players that wanted to leave, they were given compassionate, allowed to break their contracts and leave. So imagine that. Eddie Murphy is getting, Eddie Nketiah is getting 100,000. He called him Eddie Murphy. No, but that's a fact. Eddie Nketiah, what has Eddie Nketiah done in football? Like, he's a very good player. But what has he really done? He's on 100 grand. He's on 100 grand.
There you go. I guess that says it all. So, but it's one of these things. Can we match these other teams to do that?
No, then you get yourself a coach. Yeah, you get yourself a coach that can play with talent that isn't talent, like De Zerbi at Brighton. And that's where Paratici comes in.
All right.
After all, We're able to get Kulusevski. We're able to get Betancourt. If you know what you're doing, you can find them. Just get the right coach to make sense out of them. That's where we are.
Thank you very much, guys. It's fantastic having you guys today. Had a very good time. Keep your comments coming in, even if you watch this after the live stream. But it's been a disappointing day from a Tottenham perspective. Well done to the guys up the road. They well-deserved victory overall. It was a game of two halves. We just didn't turn up. Well, we didn't take our chances in the second half when we had them. They took theirs when they came, and that's the summary of the match in effect. But yeah, I mean, if you look at the transfer, the playing policy, the coach, there are just so many areas where we have a lot of challenges to deal with at the moment. I strongly believe that once we overcome these challenges, I think we'll be in a much better position to sort of move the team forward. If you look at what we had last season and what we have now, I think it's a big step up in terms of quality of the squad, right? But we had quite a lot of injuries to deal with, which obviously has had its own net effect on our performance. I mean, and we've also found that it's not always about money that does solve this problem. If you look at Chelsea have been throwing a lot of money around, but where are they in the league today? I mean, probably what, 10th or 9th? You know, so yeah, and they also had a coach who is not necessarily what you might call elite, you know, from that perspective, like the Conte, the Mourinho's, the Peps of this world, the clubs of this world, you know, the guys who are managing Real Madrid now. So I think we have to sort of always be cautious, if you like, in being reactive in our criticism when it comes to having lost matches, because someone said to me, look, the moment you win 2 games on the trot, everybody forgets about all this thing about, you know, whether it's, you know, but I guess in a way, some will say, oh, it's peppering over the cracks, you know, you're still going to find it's the long-term effect down the line. Win our games against City, win against Man U, win against City again. I mean, everyone, we're like on top of the world.
Lovely.
Just as simple as that.
I know,
just
right?
as simple as that. As you said it, from your mouth to God's ears, as simple as that.
I know. It's absolutely fantastic having you guys. Honestly, it's one of these days when, yeah, you think someone said, look, is Conte the man to take us to the promised land? You know, patiently. ENIC will not give Conte 400 million to strengthen the team. What's the way forward?
Exactly.
So what you think ENIC will give Conte what, 400 million?
ENIC out.
ENIC out. ENIC out. Unfortunately, like I said to you both, I'm looking at February as a point of termination of either Conte or ENIC will sell. ENIC will sell Bayo before Easter, or they'll talk about selling Bayo before Easter. I think Joseph Lewis is 83 now. He's been very ill of late. I think the guy just wants to cash out properly. So I think they're going to sell. I really think they're going to sell this season. And I think if they don't get Conte what he wants, I think you guys are looking at Conte walking out in February. Not end of the season, but February. If he doesn't get what he wants. And I don't think he's going to get what he wants. So,
amazing.
Sad, but facts.
Yeah, but what the Spurs next match is on Thursday away to Manchester City at the Etihad. Looking forward to that with a bit of trepidation.
Just a bit.
I'm not sure optimism comes in.
Just a bit. Just a bit. Just a bit. Just a bit.
No, I mean, someone said, I mean, in response to the True-Born African, I mean, I don't know if anyone knows who True-Born African is, but I feel it sounds very much like our hag. You know, I mean, you guys says, look, Conte will spend that 400 million and run away.
Yeah. My friend who's a Chelsea fan told me Conte will never be satisfied. You guys have bet cut your losses and get rid. He goes to me, even at Chelsea, with all we had, the guy was still like, no, you guys should get rid. That's what he said to me yesterday, that Conte will never be satisfied. Even if you gave him $1 billion, he still would want more. So
isn't that human nature? We all want more.
Every coach always wants one more player.
Yes, they want one more player. They want you to replace the players and all that. You know. I think we've had a good, a fruitful discussion. I mean, it never ends, does it? Because I mean, when it comes to Tottenham, there's so much to talk about in terms of how things are going, especially when they're not going well. I mean, that's when you have the bought out. We got up to the top 4 last season. I mean, I didn't hear a lot of discontent out in the stands. They're going to spend plenty of money. I think they're going to spend about 150, nearly 200 million over the transfer window, and they've gotten some good acquisitions. And okay, it hasn't quite clicked into place yet. We've had a few injuries in the process up to get us up here, but by and large, I mean, if we're given, I think if the coach is given a chance to continue the work he started, you know, bringing a few more people over this January transfer window, you know, and building the team over time, I think we probably stand a good chance going forward. And I mean, top 4 is not completely out yet. I mean, it's only half the season. There's so many twists and turns still to go. I mean, and who's to say that? I mean, the guys up there will actually end up winning the league. People have been known to blow leads, you know, 10-point gaps or 12-point gaps. You know, it's not unusual. So it's still not totally out of reach. It's looking difficult. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's still in theory within reach. You know, but if we're going to change things, we need to have a quick turnaround in our fortunes, and that's what I look for. To find out word from you, Deji.
Thank you very much, Soji. To be perfectly honest, it's been cathartic. I feel a lot better, having let off quite a bit of steam. So yes, I'm better able to face my trolls tomorrow when I get into the office. But not a good day at the office. We hope that things will look better and start looking up real quick, because City is just around the corner.
Great stuff. Chuma.
Well, he had a week to prepare and we lost. He now has 4 days and we're probably going to win. So who would want to be a football coach?
There you go. I think I'll probably just end on Yinka's comment here. He says, "Great show, gentlemen. Enjoy your evening if you can." To Arsenal fans, it's still going to crumble and end in tears. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Thanks, guys. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Have a good evening, guys.
Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.